The grand arena of Velthar Prime stretched toward the purple sky like a monument to violence. Inside, over 100,000 beings from across the galaxy filled the seats. They came from worlds with different gravity, different atmospheres, different ideas about what strength meant. But they all understood one thing: combat. This was the tri-annual tournament, where species sent their best warriors to prove themselves. Corporal Han Jiwoo stood in the preparation chamber beneath the arena. She was 26 years old, average height for a human woman with black hair tied back in a simple bun. Nothing about her appearance suggested anything special. She wore the standard gray uniform of Earth's Expeditionary Force. No medals, no decorations, just clean, practical clothing. Through the walls, she could hear the roar of the crowd. They were excited. 3 days of combat lay ahead. Champions from 70 different species would fight. Some battles would be to submission, others to unconsciousness. None to death. The Galactic Council had rules about that. The door hissed open. Captain Park Min-ho entered, his face tight with concern. He was 42, a career soldier with gray threading through his dark hair. "Jiwoo," he said. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, sir." "I do." Her voice was calm, almost too calm. "Humanity is already in the tournament. You're scheduled to fight in 2 days. This exhibition match isn't required. The princess challenged us, sir. If I refuse, what message does that send?" Park sat down on the bench beside her. Outside, the crowd's noise swelled. The opening ceremony was beginning. "The message it sends is that we're smart enough not to throw away our fighter before the real tournament starts. Princess Kiravel of House Drektar has won 12 major combat championships. She's 7 feet tall with 4 arms and scales that can stop most bladed weapons. She's killed Vortan berserkers and Celtic huntmasters. I know her record, sir." "Then you know this is suicide." Jiwoo looked at him. Her eyes were dark and steady. "Do you trust me, Captain?" Park was quiet for a moment. He had read her file. Parts of it, anyway. Most of Corporal Han Jiwoo's military history was classified above his security level, which was strange for a corporal. "I trust you," he finally said. "I just don't understand you." "You will." The announcement echoed through the chamber. All representatives were to gather in the arena for the opening ceremony. Jiwoo stood and walked toward the door. Park followed, still worried but knowing he couldn't stop her. The arena floor was massive, covered in sand that had soaked up blood from 1,000 fights. Jiwoo walked out with the other human representatives. There were 5 of them total. Earth was new to the Galactic Council, only 3 years as members. Most species still saw humans as primitive newcomers who barely qualified as sentient. The other fighters gathered in groups. The Celtics stood together, insect-like creatures with bladed limbs. The Vortans were huge and muscular, covered in thick fur. The Drektar delegation stood in the center, impossible to miss. Princess Kiravel towered above most others. Her scales were deep crimson, polished to shine under the arena lights. 4 muscular arms crossed over her chest. Her face was angular and sharp, with golden eyes that swept over the gathered fighters with obvious disdain. She wore armor that seemed more ceremonial than protective. Silver and black metal formed to her body. When her eyes found the human delegation, she laughed. It was loud and mocking. "Behold," she called out in Galactic Common, the trade language everyone understood. "The humans have arrived. Look at them. So small, so soft, so pink." Her attendants laughed with her. Jiwoo kept walking. She didn't react. "Tell me, humans," Kiravel continued, her voice carrying across the arena. "How did your species survive long enough to reach the stars? Did you hide in caves? Did you run from predators? Surely you did not fight them." Ambassador Lee Seung-ho, the diplomatic representative from Earth, stepped forward. He was older, in his 60s, with a politician's smile. "Princess Kiravel, humanity is honored to participate in this tournament. We look forward to demonstrating our capabilities through proper channels." "Proper channels?" The princess walked toward them. Each step was powerful, deliberate. The sand shifted under her weight. "I think not. I think humanity sent weaklings to this tournament because they have no true warriors. I think you are prey species playing at being predators." She stopped 10 feet from Jiwoo. Those golden eyes locked onto the corporal. "You," Kiravel said. "Yes, you." The little female. "What is your name?" "Corporal Han Jiwoo, ma'am." "Ma'am?" The princess laughed again. "She calls me ma'am. How quaint. Tell me, Corporal Han Jiwoo, have you ever killed anything?" "Yes, ma'am. What, an insect? A small animal for food? I'd rather not say, ma'am. Kiravel's forearms spread wide, addressing the crowd now. This is what Earth sends. A polite little girl who would rather not say. I propose an exhibition match. Right now, before the tournament begins, I will face this corporal. The galaxy can see what human strength truly means. The crowd roared approval. They wanted blood. They wanted entertainment. Captain Park grabbed Jiwoo's arm. Don't, he whispered urgently. This is a trap. She'll kill you to make a point. Ambassador Lee hurried over. Corporal, I order you to decline this challenge. Think of Earth's reputation. But Jiwoo was looking at Princess Kiravel. She saw the arrogance there. The absolute certainty. The princess had never lost because she had never faced anything that could beat her. I accept, Jiwoo said loudly. Her voice carried across the arena. The crowd's roar became deafening. Kiravel smiled, showing teeth designed for tearing meat. Excellent. Tomorrow morning. This arena. No rules except no killing. When you cannot stand, the match ends. Agreed. Bring weapons if you wish, armor. Whatever makes you feel safe. The princess turned away, dismissing Jiwoo like she was already forgotten. Ambassador Lee was furious. Do you have any idea what you've done? If you lose badly, and you will, humanity becomes a laughingstock. Our position on the council weakens. Trade agreements fall apart. This is bigger than your pride, Corporal. Jiwoo finally looked at him. Sir, with respect, this isn't about pride. This is about information. What information? How much we should show them. She walked away, leaving the ambassador confused and the captain worried. Around the arena, aliens were already placing bets. The odds against Jiwoo surviving were 1,000 to 1. In the viewing boxes high above, an ancient being named High Chancellor Vexthor watched through compound eyes that had seen centuries of combat. He accessed Jiwoo's file through his neural interface. Most of it was classified. Red security locks covered large sections. Strange, he thought, for a mere corporal. He made a note to watch this fight very carefully. The human quarters were located in the lower levels of the arena complex. The rooms were small but functional, designed to accommodate the basic needs of various species. Jiwoo sat on her bed, eyes closed, breathing slowly. In and out, in and out. Her heartbeat was steady at 58 beats per minute. The door opened. Choi Yuna entered carrying a medical kit and a data pad. She was 34, compact and muscular with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Officially, she was listed as Jiwoo's trainer. The reality was more complicated. Everyone is losing their minds upstairs, Yuna said, sitting down across from Jiwoo. Ambassador Lee has sent 7 messages to Earth Command. Captain Park thinks you've developed a death wish. The other team members are terrified. Jiwoo opened her eyes. And you? Me? I think this is hilarious, Yuna grinned. Though I do have to ask, how much should you show them? Just enough. That's not very specific, Corporal. Enough to win. Enough to make them take us seriously. Not enough to make them afraid. Jiwoo stood and began stretching. Her movements were fluid and precise. Fear makes enemies. Respect makes allies. Yuna pulled up information on her datapad. Princess Kiravel. Born on Draktar Prime 37 standard years ago. Started combat training at age 5, which is young even for her species. Won her first championship at 14. She's fought in 2 actual wars, not just tournaments. Kill count is classified but estimated over 200. Combat style. Aggressive. She uses all 4 arms independently, which most species can't defend against. Superior strength and reach. Her scales provide natural armor. Most importantly, she's fast. Reaction time is 0.03 seconds, which is considered exceptional in the galaxy. Jiwoo smiled slightly. 0.03 seconds. That's cute. Don't get cocky. She's also smart. Watches her opponents, learns their patterns, adapts mid-fight. She's beaten champions who were physically stronger by being tactically superior. Good, I hate fighting stupid opponents. It's boring. There was a knock at the door. Captain Park entered without waiting for permission. His face was red with stress. Corporal, I just received a communication from Earth Command. They want you to withdraw from this exhibition match. No, sir. That wasn't a suggestion. It was an order. Jiwoo met his eyes. Sir, check your secure messages. Authorization code 77 Delta Black. Park frowned and pulled out his encrypted communication device. He entered the code. His eyes widened as he read. When he looked up, his expression had changed from anger to confusion. You. This authorization is from General Kang himself. It overrides my command. It says, he read again, making sure he understood correctly. It says you're operating under Special Operations Protocol, that you have full discretion to conduct this mission as you see fit. Yes, sir. Mission? What mission? We're here for a tournament, not a military operation. Yuna stood up. Captain, there are things about Corporal Han that you don't know. Things that most people don't need to know. But you should understand this. She volunteered for the tournament. She wanted to be here. Why? Jiwoo answered. Because humanity needs to establish our position in the galaxy. Right now, most species see us as weak. They think Earth survived by luck. They think our technology is borrowed and our people are soft. This is our chance to change that perception. Park sat down heavily. By having you fight a champion who could break you in half? By showing them what an average human soldier can do. Average? Jiwoo, I've seen your PT scores. You're anything but average, she shrugged. Compared to what's coming, sir, I am absolutely average. Before Park could ask what that meant, another knock came. Ambassador Lee entered looking exhausted. Corporal, please. I'm begging you. Withdraw. I've negotiated for 3 hours with the Draktar delegation. Princess Kiravel has agreed to let you withdraw without losing honor. She'll say you showed bravery by accepting, and humanity can save face. No, Ambassador. Why are you so determined to get yourself killed? I won't die tomorrow. You can't know that. Jiwoo walked to the window. Outside, she could see the arena lit up against the night sky. Ambassador, have you ever wondered why Earth was accepted into the Galactic Council so easily? We're a young species. We've only had faster-than-light travel for 20 years. Most species have to prove themselves for centuries. The Council saw our potential, Lee said carefully. They saw us as harmless, as a species that could be easily controlled. They thought we'd be grateful for scraps and follow their lead. Jiwoo turned back. Tomorrow that changes. Far above, in the luxury suites reserved for royalty, Princess Kiravel was celebrating with her attendants. They drank fermented Celtic honey and laughed about the coming fight. The human is brave, I will give her that, said Commander Veltar, Kiravel's military advisor. He was older, with darker scales and scars from many battles. Foolish but brave. Bravery without strength is just suicide, Kiravel said. She was studying footage of humans in combat. Most of it came from Earth's own historical records, which humanity had shared with the Council. She watched ancient wars, tanks and guns, primitive but effective. They are weapon makers, tool users. Without their technology, they are nothing. Will you use weapons tomorrow, Your Highness? No, it would be insulting to my ancestors. I will beat her with my hands. I will show her the difference between a true warrior species and whatever humans are. But Commander Veltar was still watching the footage. Something bothered him. He couldn't identify what, but there was something in the way humans moved, the way they fought, that seemed familiar, like a memory from his own people's ancient past, before they conquered the stars. In the medical bay, Dr. Shin Yunji was running final checks on Jiwoo. Yunji was 29, a xenobiologist who specialized in comparative species physiology. She had joined the expedition specifically to study how humans compared to other galactic species. Bone density is perfect, she said, reading the scans. Muscle fiber response is optimal. Neural conductivity is, well, it's what we expected. Your adrenaline regulation is functioning properly. How are the others? Jiwoo asked, nervous, confused, wondering why you're doing this. Yunji paused. I know why, of course. I've read your full file, but I'm wondering if you're ready to show them this much. Earth Command thinks it's time. Earth Command isn't the one stepping into the arena with a Draktar princess, Jiwoo smiled. No, but they trust me to make the right call. That's why they sent me. Yunji finished her scans and stepped back. You know, when I first studied galactic species, I was intimidated. The Vortons are 3 times stronger than us. The Celtics have natural weapons. The Draktar have 4 arms and armor-plated skin. I thought humans couldn't compete. What changed your mind? I studied Earth's history. Every other species in the galaxy evolved on relatively stable worlds. Safe worlds. Worlds with 1 or 2 apex predators at most. Earth? Yunji shook her head. Earth tried to kill humanity every single day for 3 million years. Every environment on your planet had something that wanted to eat you. Predators, diseases, weather, other humans. And you didn't just survive, you thrived. You became the apex predator of an entire planet full of things trying to murder you. We got lucky, Jiwoo said modestly. No. You got mean. The night deepened. Across the arena complex, beings from 100 worlds slept in their own ways. Some dreamed. Others simply powered down. Bets continued to flow through underground networks. Everyone wanted to see what would happen when a human faced a champion. In her quarters, Jiwoo didn't sleep. She moved through forms older than spaceflight, combat techniques passed down through centuries. Her body flowed through strikes and blocks, footwork and breathing. To anyone watching, it might have looked like dance. It wasn't. Morning came with 3 suns rising over Velthar Prime. The arena filled early. No one wanted to miss this. The exhibition match between Princess Kiravel and the human had become the most talked-about event before the tournament even began. Jiwoo walked through the preparation tunnel. The roar of the crowd filtered down through stone and metal. She wore simple combat attire, black fitted pants, a gray sleeveless shirt, boots with flexible soles. No armor, no weapons. Her hair was pulled back tight. Yuna walked beside her. Remember, you're not trying to humiliate her, just win. Show enough to earn respect. I remember. And if things go wrong, they won't. Captain Park waited at the tunnel entrance. He looked like he hadn't slept. Jiwoo, last chance, please. She put a hand on his shoulder. Trust me, sir. By tonight, everything changes. The tunnel opened onto the arena floor. The noise hit like a physical wave. 100,000 beings screaming, chittering, howling. Jiwoo walked into the center, her steps calm and measured. The sand was warm under her boots. Across the arena, Princess Kiravel emerged from the opposite tunnel. She wore ceremonial armor now, silver and black metal that gleamed in the sunlight. Her forearms were bare, showing muscle that rippled under crimson scales. She carried no weapons either. She didn't need them. The crowd's noise changed pitch. This was anticipation. This was bloodlust. High Chancellor Vexthor stood in the royal box, his ancient voice amplified across the arena. This exhibition match is fought under standard rules. No killing, no permanent maiming. The fight ends when one combatant cannot continue or surrenders. Are both fighters ready? Ready, Kiravel called. Her voice was strong and confident. Ready, Jiwoo said. Much quieter, almost conversational. Begin. Kiravel didn't waste time. She crossed the 20 feet between them in less than 2 seconds. Forearms came at Jiwoo from different angles. A high strike, a low sweep. 2 middle punches aimed at ribs and face. It was a combination that had defeated champions. It was impossible to block all 4 attacks at once. Jiwoo wasn't there anymore. She had moved backward and to the left, just enough that all 4 strikes hit empty air. The movement was economical, precise, no wasted energy. Kiravel adjusted instantly, spinning to follow. 2 arms grabbed while the other 2 struck. But again, Jiwoo simply wasn't where the attacks landed. She flowed around them like water around stone. The crowd's noise changed. This wasn't what they expected. Stand still, human, Kiravel snarled. She increased her speed, pressing forward with a barrage of attacks. She used techniques from 3 different martial traditions, switching between them to prevent pattern recognition. Jiwoo dodged them all. She still hadn't thrown a single strike. In the viewing box, Commander Veltar leaned forward. She's studying the princess, he said quietly. Learning her patterns. Ambassador Lee was gripping the railing so hard his knuckles were white. Is she? Is Jiwoo playing with her? No, Yuna said calmly. She's being respectful. She's giving the princess every chance to land a hit. Kiravel was beginning to realize something was wrong. She had fought hundreds of opponents. She knew what fear looked like. She knew what panic looked like when someone was outmatched. This human showed neither. Jiwoo's expression was focused but calm. Her breathing was steady. The princess changed tactics. She stopped attacking and circled instead, looking for an opening. Jiwoo circled with her, maintaining distance. You're fast, Kiravel admitted. Faster than expected. But speed alone won't win this fight. No, ma'am. Jiwoo agreed. It won't. Then show me what will. Jiwoo considered this. Then she nodded slightly. All right, she moved forward. Not fast, not yet. She closed the distance at a normal walking pace. Kiravel, surprised by the approach, threw a combination of strikes. Too high, too low. Jiwoo's hand came up and deflected the first high strike with minimal contact. Her other hand guided the second strike past her shoulder. She ducked under the low strikes, stepped inside Kiravel's reach, and placed her palm gently against the princess's armored chest. Then she pushed. Kiravel flew backward 15 feet and hit the sand hard. The crowd went silent. The princess stood up slowly, shock evident on her face. How did you? Jiwoo had returned to a neutral stance, hands relaxed at her sides. You wanted to see what else, ma'am? That's what else. Kiravel's shock turned to anger. No one embarrassed her. Not in public. Not in an arena. She charged forward with everything she had, all forearms striking in a pattern too complex for most beings to follow. What happened next would be analyzed and debated for years. Jiwoo moved through the attacks like they were coming in slow motion. She didn't just dodge, she flowed. When a fist came at her face, she tilted her head slightly and let it pass by her ear. When two arms tried to grab her, she twisted between them. When a kick came at her legs, she jumped, but only an inch off the ground, just enough. And she started hitting back. Not hard. Not yet, just touches. Her hand tapped Kiravel's shoulder. Her foot touched the princess's knee. Her elbow brushed against armored ribs. Each touch was a message. I could have hit you here. And here. And here. Kiravel tried to adjust, tried to adapt like she always did. But there was nothing to adapt to. Every strategy she used, Jiwoo had already countered before she finished executing it. It was like fighting someone who could see the future. The truth was simpler and more terrifying. Jiwoo wasn't seeing the future. She was reading body mechanics. The shift of weight before a strike. The slight movement of eyes toward a target. The tightening of muscles before action. Humans had evolved to read these signs in other predators because on Earth, failing to do so meant death. Kiravel was breathing hard now. Jiwoo wasn't. The princess had been fighting all out for 5 minutes. Jiwoo looked like she was warming up. Impossible, Kiravel gasped. Your species. The records say you're weak, fragile. How are you? May I show you something, Your Highness? Jiwoo asked politely. What? Real speed. Jiwoo moved. For the first time, she stopped holding back. Her body blurred across the sand. She appeared behind Kiravel before the princess could turn. Then she was on the left. Then the right. Then in front again. The crowd couldn't follow it. Most species processed visual information too slowly. They saw after-images, flickers of movement. To them, Jiwoo had simply teleported around the arena. But High Chancellor Vexthor, with his compound eyes and millisecond-level perception, saw it clearly. He saw Jiwoo moving at speeds that shouldn't be possible for a biped. He saw acceleration that should have torn muscles and shattered bones. But there she was, demonstrating casual mastery over physics that other species needed machines to achieve. Kiravel spun, trying to track her opponent. She threw attacks in every direction. None connected. She was fighting a ghost. Then Jiwoo stopped directly in front of her, close enough to touch. Your blade arms, Jiwoo said quietly, so only Kiravel could hear. Your right dominant. You always follow a high strike with a low strike on the left. Your third arm favors grabbing over hitting. Your fourth arm is your strongest, but you protect it, only using it when you're sure of landing. You have 17 distinct attack patterns and you cycle through them based on opponent response. Kiravel stared at her. You learned all that from 5 minutes? I learned that in the first 30 seconds. The rest of the time I was deciding what to do about it. What? What are you? Just human, Your Highness. Kiravel attacked again, desperately now. She used every technique she knew, every dirty trick, every advantage her forearms gave her. Nothing worked. Jiwoo was always somewhere else. And when she struck back, her hits were placed with surgical precision. Joints, nerve clusters, pressure points that existed even in alien physiology. The princess's left arm went numb. Then her right. She stumbled as Jiwoo swept her legs. 4 arms reached out to catch herself, but 2 of them wouldn't respond properly. Jiwoo stood over her. The human reached down and gently took Kiravel's ceremonial blade from her belt. It was a beautiful weapon, etched with the history of House Draktar. The crowd held its breath. Jiwoo examined the blade, then placed it carefully on the ground beside the princess. You're a magnificent fighter, she said. You've trained your entire life. You've earned every victory, every championship. You deserve respect. Then why did you defeat me so easily? Because my species trained for 3 million years before we ever left our planet. Because Earth didn't give us a choice, adapt or die. Because we didn't have scales or claws or forearms, so we had to become something else. Jiwoo offered her hand. Because we're human, Your Highness, and that's enough. Kiravel looked at the offered hand. Then she took it. The arena remained silent as Jiwoo helped Princess Kiravel to her feet. The silence was more shocking than the fight itself. 100,000 beings sat frozen, trying to process what they had witnessed. High Chancellor Vexthor's voice finally broke the quiet. The match is concluded. Victor, Corporal Han Jiwoo of Earth. That's when the noise started. Not cheering, not exactly. It was confusion given sound. Arguments broke out in the stands. In one section, 3 Celtics were fighting over betting credits. In another, a Vortan was demanding a review of human registration documents. Kiravel's medical team rushed onto the sand. They surrounded the princess, checking her injuries. Mostly bruises. Some nerve damage that would heal. Her pride was hurt worse than her body. I don't understand, she said to Jiwoo before the medics pulled her away. The Galactic database says humans are Category 3 physical threat. That's below average. You should not be able to do what you just did. Jiwoo gave a small smile. Maybe the database is wrong. Captain Park reached Jiwoo first. He grabbed her shoulders, checking her for injuries. Are you hurt? Did she? I'm fine, sir. Fine? Jiwoo, you just... That was... He couldn't find words. Yuna arrived next, grinning widely. Now that's what I call just enough. Ambassador Lee was pale. Do you have any idea what you've done? Every species in the galaxy just watched you humiliate one of their best warriors. The political implications are exactly what we wanted, said a new voice. Everyone turned. A man in a dark uniform was walking across the arena floor. He was tall, in his 50s, with iron-gray hair and a face that had seen too many wars. His uniform bore the insignia of a full colonel in Earth Special Operations Command. Colonel Kang Do-hyun, Ambassador Lee said, surprised. I didn't know you were on planet. I arrived an hour ago. Colonel Kang stopped beside Jiwoo and gave her a nod of approval. Well done, Corporal. Textbook execution. Thank you, sir. Execution of what? Captain Park demanded. What is going on here? Captain, you and the ambassador need to come with me. We're about to have some very important conversations. Kang looked up at the viewing boxes where galactic representatives sat. Conversations that are long overdue. 20 minutes later, they sat in a secure conference room beneath the arena. Present were Colonel Kang, Ambassador Lee, Captain Park, Yuna Jiwoo, and Dr. Shin Yoonji. A holographic display floated in the center of the table. I'm going to tell you things that are classified, Kang said. But after today's display, the classification is pointless. The galaxy needs to understand what humanity is. He activated the display. It showed Earth rotating slowly. Earth is categorized as a Class 12 death world, he began. Out of roughly 40,000 cataloged planets that support complex life, only 37 are Class 12. Do you know what makes a planet Class 12? Extreme danger to visiting species, Ambassador Lee said quietly. Correct. Most planets have 1 or 2 apex predators. Earth has hundreds. Most planets have stable weather patterns. Earth has hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. Most planets have a few deadly diseases. Earth has thousands. The galactic average for dangerous species per planet is 4. Earth has over 1,000 species that can kill a human. The display changed, showing various Earth predators: lions, bears, sharks, crocodiles, snakes, spiders. Humans evolved in this environment, Kang continued, not as the strongest species, not as the fastest, not as the most heavily armored. We evolved as persistence hunters. Captain Park was leaning forward now, finally understanding. Persistence hunters? Dr. Yoonji spoke up. Most predators are sprinters. They chase prey in short, fast bursts. Humans are different. We can run for hours, days if necessary. We literally chased our food until it collapsed from exhaustion. Our cardiovascular system is over-engineered compared to most galactic species, Kang added. Our temperature regulation is exceptional. We can function in environments ranging from Arctic cold to desert heat, and our recovery time is remarkable. The display shifted to show human skeletal and muscular systems. Human bones are denser than most species our size. Our muscles contain higher ratios of both fast-twitch and slow-twitch fibers, giving us both explosive strength and endurance. Our hands can grip with enough force to crush certain materials, but also manipulate objects with precision at the millimeter scale. Ambassador Lee was staring at the data. Why wasn't I told this? Because Earth Command decided 3 years ago that we should appear non-threatening. Let the galaxy underestimate us, learn about other species, understand the political landscape before revealing our full capabilities. Kang looked at each of them. Today marks the end of that strategy, Captain Park pointed at Jiwoo. But she's not... I've seen strong soldiers, but what she did today was beyond... Was it? Kang pulled up Jiwoo's file. Most of it was still redacted, but he revealed one section. Corporal Han Jiwoo is a graduate of the Special Operations Combat School. She's trained in 17 different martial arts. She spent 10,000 hours in combat simulation. She's a veteran of the colony wars with 43 confirmed hostile kills, and by Earth Special Forces standards, she ranks approximately average. The room went quiet. Average? Park whispered. We have soldiers who make Jiwoo look slow. We have soldiers who are stronger, faster, more experienced. We sent Jiwoo because she's good at demonstrating human capability without being intimidating. She's professional, controlled. She doesn't grandstand. Kang smiled slightly, and she's very good at holding back. On the display, footage began playing from the match. Kang froze it at the moment Jiwoo pushed Kiravel backward. The princess weighs approximately 300 pounds with armor. Jiwoo pushed her 15 feet with one hand. The force required for that is significant, but watch Jiwoo's stance. He zoomed in. She's barely braced. She used maybe 30% of her available strength. If she'd pushed with full force, the princess would have left the arena. He showed another moment, when Jiwoo had dodged a complex forearm attack. Princess Kiravel's attack speed has been measured at 0.03 seconds reaction time. That's considered exceptional in the galaxy. Kang looked at them. Human Special Forces average is 0.01 seconds. Jiwoo's personal record is 0.008 seconds. She was literally moving in slow motion from her perspective. Dr. Yeonji pulled up her own data. It's not just physical. Human brains process tactical information faster than most species. We can track multiple threats simultaneously. Our pattern recognition is exceptional because we evolved hunting prey that tried to hide. Our spatial awareness is superior because we evolved as both predator and prey. And our psychology, Kang added, is perhaps our greatest advantage. Humans don't give up. We have a concept called second wind, the ability to push through exhaustion and find new reserves of energy. We fight when injured. We adapt to impossible situations. We survive things that would break other species mentally. Ambassador Lee put his head in his hands. The Council is going to panic. Probably. They'll see us as a threat. They already should have. Kang closed the displays. When Earth applied to the Galactic Council, we submitted thousands of documents about our history, our biology, our capabilities. Everything we're discussing now was in those documents, but no one read them carefully. They saw a young species and assumed we were harmless. They didn't bother to analyze what a Class 12 death world does to the species that survive it. There was a knock at the door. An aide entered. Sir, representatives from 17 species are demanding an audience. They want explanations. Tell them we'll meet in the Grand Chamber in 1 hour. Kang stood. It's time for humanity to have an honest conversation with the galaxy. What should I tell them? Ambassador Lee asked. The truth, that Earth is no threat to peaceful species, that we seek cooperation, not conquest. But also tell them this. Humanity earned our place in the galaxy the hard way. We climbed to the top of the food chain on a planet that was actively trying to kill us. We built civilization despite having to fight for survival every single day. We reached the stars because we refused to give up. He paused at the door. And tell them that Corporal Han Jiwoo is just one soldier. Earth has 10 billion people. Imagine what we can accomplish when we work together. In the medical bay, Princess Kiravel sat alone despite her attendants trying to fuss over her. She was watching the footage of her fight on a holographic display, analyzing every moment. Commander Veltar entered. Your Highness, the Council is in chaos. They're demanding... I underestimated them, Kiravel said quietly. Your Highness, the humans. I thought they were weak because they looked soft. I thought they were prey because they had no natural weapons. She replayed the moment when Jiwoo had helped her up. I was wrong. They're not prey. They're predators who learned to hunt without claws. What will you tell the Council? Kiravel stood, her pride wounded but her honor intact. I will tell them the truth. That I fought well and I lost fairly. That humanity deserves respect. She looked at her commander. And I will ask them to teach me how they fight. The Grand Chamber of Velthar Prime had hosted diplomatic meetings for over 1,000 years. Its walls were carved from a single massive crystal that reflected light in ways that seemed almost alive. Today, those walls reflected tension. Representatives from 40 species filled the chamber. Some stood. Some sat in specialized chairs. Others floated in gravity-controlled spaces. All of them were focused on the human delegation at the center. Ambassador Li stood at the speaking platform, his hands remarkably steady considering the pressure. Beside him stood Colonel Kang. Behind them, Jiwoo waited in her dress uniform, standing at attention. High Chancellor Vexthor presided from the elevated judgment seat. His ancient voice carried across the chamber. This session is called to address concerns regarding humanity's recent demonstration. The floor recognizes Ambassador Lee Sung-ho of Earth. Lee took a breath. Thank you, Chancellor. I understand many of you have questions about this morning's exhibition match. I'm here to provide answers. We demand more than answers, growled Representative Thok of the Vorten hierarchy. He was massive, covered in gray fur with tusks that could gore a human easily. We demand explanation for deception. Your species presented itself as weak, as non-threatening. Now we discover you possess warriors who can defeat our champions. This is treachery. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Not treachery, Lee said firmly. We submitted complete documentation of human capabilities when we applied for council membership. Our biology, our history, our combat capabilities, everything was provided. If species chose not to review those documents thoroughly, that is not deception on our part. Impossible, said Representative Silth of the Celtic Hive. Her mandibles clicked in agitation. We reviewed Earth's submission. You were categorized as Category 3 physical threat. Colonel Kang stepped forward. With respect, Representative, you categorized us as Category 3. We never claimed that designation. Your own assessment teams made that determination without field testing. Then what is your correct category? Demanded a Centaurian representative. We don't use your category system, Kang said. It's inadequate for describing human capabilities. We're simultaneously weaker and stronger than most species, depending on the context. Explain, Vexthor commanded. Kang activated a holographic display. In pure strength, humans average below most large species. A Vorten is 3 times stronger than a human, but strength alone doesn't determine combat effectiveness. Humans excel in endurance, adaptation, tactical thinking, and, most importantly, in our refusal to quit. The display showed Earth rotating. Humanity evolved on what you classify as a Class 12 death world. Most council species evolved on Class 4 or 5 worlds. The environmental difference matters. Dr. Yunji joined them, bringing up biological data. Human cardiovascular systems can sustain high activity for hours. Our temperature regulation functions across extreme ranges. Our immune systems fight off thousands of pathogens daily. Our pain tolerance is exceptional. We're not the strongest species, but we're among the most durable. This does not explain how one human defeated Princess Kiravel, said a Draktar representative. The princess is a champion, trained from childhood. How does a corporal match her? Jiwoo spoke for the first time. Permission to address the council, Ambassador? Lee nodded. Jiwoo stepped forward. I matched Princess Kiravel because I trained specifically to fight opponents stronger and faster than myself. Earth has no single environment, no single threat. We evolved fighting everything. Big predators, small venomous creatures, other humans. We learned to adapt because if we didn't, we died. She gestured to the holographic Earth. The princess is magnificent. Her training is excellent. Her technique is perfect. But she trained in controlled conditions against known opponents using established techniques. I trained in chaos, against unpredictable threats, using whatever worked. You claim superiority over our warriors? Kiravel's voice came from the entrance. The princess entered, walking with slight stiffness from her injuries but with her head high. That is bold, human. No, Your Highness. Jiwoo bowed respectfully. I claim difference, not superiority. You're a better technical fighter than I'll ever be, but I grew up on a world that forced me to think differently. Kiravel approached the center platform. The chamber watched, tense. I have reviewed footage of our match 73 times. I have analyzed every movement, every decision. You defeated me in 4 ways simultaneously. Speed, tactical analysis, psychological pressure, and endurance. Any one of those advantages would have been significant. All four together were insurmountable. She turned to address the council. I came here to speak against Earth's petition for upgraded status. I intended to demand restrictions on human military expansion. But after fighting Corporal Han, I understand something crucial. Humanity is not a threat. They're an asset. Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. Your Highness, Representative Thok said, they defeated you. They humiliated the Draktar Empire. No, Kiravel interrupted. Corporal Han defeated me with honor. She could have hurt me badly. She could have ended the fight in seconds. Instead, she gave me every chance to succeed. She demonstrated her capability without unnecessary violence. That is not the behavior of a threat. That is the behavior of someone who understands strength doesn't require cruelty. She looked at Jiwoo. I have a request. Your Highness, I wish to train with human martial artists. To learn your techniques, to understand how you fight. Jiwoo glanced at Colonel Kang, who nodded. I would be honored to arrange that, Your Highness. High Chancellor Vexthor tapped his staff against the floor, demanding attention. This discussion raises important questions. If Corporal Han is, as claimed, an average human soldier, what of your elite warriors? What of your true champions? Kang pulled up new data. Earth's military consists of approximately 50 million active personnel. Of those, about 2 million are in special forces. Corporal Han ranks in the middle of that special forces group. Above her are soldiers with more experience, more training, more natural talent. And these superior warriors, Vexthor pressed. How many exist? Classified, unacceptable. The Council must assess potential threats. Then assess this, Kang said. Earth has no interest in galactic conquest. We're barely managing our own colony worlds. We have no territorial disputes with any Council species. We seek trade, knowledge exchange, and peaceful cooperation. But you have the capacity for war, Representative Silt stated. Your people are natural warriors. Every species has the capacity for war, Ambassador Lee interjected. The question is intent. Yes, humans can fight. We had to survive our homeworld, but we've also built art, literature, music, philosophy. We've created systems of law and justice. We've developed technologies for healing and building, not just destroying. He paused, letting his words sink in. The galaxy seems to think you must be either warriors or builders. Predators or prey. Humanity is both. We can fight when necessary and build when possible. That's not a weakness. That's wisdom. The tri-annual tournament continued over the next 3 days. The atmosphere had changed completely. Human fighters were watched with new respect. Several withdrew their participants, not out of fear, but out of acknowledgement they weren't prepared. Jiwoo won her first official tournament match easily. Her second was harder. By her third match, her opponents had studied her carefully and adapted their strategies. She still won, but the victories were close. Good, she told Yuna afterward. They're learning. That's what we want. On the final day, Jiwoo faced a Celtic warrior named Thrix in the semi-finals. Thrix had watched all of Jiwoo's previous matches and developed specific counters to human tactics. The fight lasted 20 minutes and ended with both fighters barely standing. Thrix won by a narrow margin. Afterward, they shared water, a sign of mutual respect. You are formidable, Thrix said, his mandibles clicking in what might have been a smile. So are you, Jiwoo replied. You adapted well. I learned from the best. From you. In the tournament's final match, Thrix lost to a Centaurian champion. But the real victory had already occurred. The galaxy now understood that humans belonged. 2 weeks later, back on Earth, Jiwoo returned to her training facility. Young soldiers gathered around her, eager to hear about the tournament. Did you win? One asked. I came in third, Jiwoo said. Only third? Third place in a tournament of 70 species champions is excellent, she replied. But more importantly, I accomplished the mission. The galaxy now understands what humanity can do. Colonel Kang appeared, approaching with another officer Jiwoo didn't recognize. Corporal, this is Commander No Hyejin. She's organizing a new joint species military unit. Volunteers from different worlds training together, learning from each other. Hyejin was in her 40s, sharp-eyed and efficient. Corporal Han, your performance on Velthar Prime impressed many species. 7 have requested human instructors for their military programs. 15 more have applied to send trainees to Earth. We're establishing an exchange program. Respectfully, ma'am, I'm just a corporal. Surely there are better qualified You're being promoted to sergeant, Kang interrupted. and assigned to the instructor corps. He'll be training not just humans but aliens who want to learn our techniques. Jiwoo absorbed this.